Do you experience discomfort in your lower back? Do you have symptoms of sciatica? Or have you got a tight and uncomfortable hip? So we're going to do a little bit of gluteal work. So we're going to use a tennis ball and we're going to open up or soften the tissue in the buttocks. So there's 3 glute muscles. There's the glute max, which is the big chunky muscle. There's the glute medius and the glute minimus, and our good old piriformis, which is the muscle that tends to be guilty unless you've got a issue in the spine, but it's the piriformis is the one that's most guilty of symptoms of sciatica or piriformis syndrome. So you just need a tennis ball. You could use a spiky ball, you could use a rubber dog ball. If you've got a massage ball, then that's great, that's just as effective. So I'm going to work on my left side. So I'm going to come and lay on the floor and I'm going to put my head onto something that's soft, so like my back of my neck feels supported and isn't twisted. I'm going to take my left ankle and place it across the top of my right knee. So it's a bit of a figure of 4. I'm going to take the ball, I'm going to pop it underneath my sacrum or underneath my pelvis, below the top of the pelvis. It wants to be quite high up. So for me, it's sort of in that area of muffin top area. And then I'm going to use my right foot on the floor to lever to move my pelvis around. You can travel over the sacrum, that's absolutely fine. Looking for those sore spots. So do stay quite high up because that's where the glute medius and the glute minimus are. And just notice what feels a bit tender or what feels okay. So there's a bit of a tense spot there for me. So I'm just going to wait and hold. I'm going to let the tissue soften onto the ball. I'm going to let the hip rest, everything to come to rest onto the tennis ball. So using a little bit of targeted trigger point work. Let's take a big breath in. Exhale through the nose. And as you do that, you might notice the tissue softens, or it might feel a little bit more uncomfortable because the ball's travelled further into the soft tissue. If, of course, it's particularly painful, then move off the area of sensitivity. Just come either side of it and then repeat. So releasing, just leaning into the ball a little bit, and then travelling further down. So keeping the ball moving. If it's particularly sensitive, then just roll the ball completely over the left side of the buttocks. So keep moving it. You can move the leg, move the torso, but do keep moving that ball around if it's particularly sore. Because even keeping the ball moving and not necessarily doing the weight and hold on the trigger points, even that action of self-massage will release and ease some of the tension in the pelvis and into the glutes. Good. So you find the next point of tenderness, and this is my piriformis. So to find my piriformis, I find the outside edge of the hip, so where when you turn the foot you can feel the bone moving, and then draw a diagonal line across to the sacrum. So it's a diagonal line that travels upwards. So this feels a bit sore. So I'm going to travel off a little bit because I don't want it to be quite that sore. I don't really want to exceed a pain level of more than 6 out of 10. So that feels a bit more comfortable. So I'm going to roll and just wait and hold. Let the tissue soften onto the ball. Let the hip open. So let the knee travel away. So I might try and encourage this knee, this thigh, just to move a little bit further away from the torso. Good. Unless it's got a bit more uncomfortable. So I'm going to take a big breath in through the nose, out through the nose. And as I travel out through the nose, it's got a bit easier. Good. So when you're doing this at home yourself, I would suggest that you take quite a long time going through this. So I'm going through this quite quickly just for the purpose of the recording, for you to see what's going on. And you can see that I'm coming all the way down to the bottom of the glutes. There's my gluteal crease. So I'm working all the way around the tissue. And now I'm going to come to the outside edge of the hip. So I kind of want to work into this area. So to do that, I'm going to bring the ball up. And then I'm going to roll over so the left knee is travelling towards the floor. I'm going to kind of come into a little bit more into the glute minimus. And we're going to wait and hold. I'm going to relax the tissue, the soft tissue onto top of the ball. Waiting and holding and letting it ease. If, of course, it's particularly painful, then move the ball off the affected area. Just move it away, perhaps a centimetre or two, and retry. If it's still very sensitive, then keep moving the ball. Just keep moving it, and then come back to this video the following day and try again. So keep finding all those outside edges. So I'm right on the bone called the greater trochanter, so there's lots of attachments around there, so I'm just going to work those attachments off. Gentle movement, being kind to myself, not rushing it. And it's going to be sore, it can be quite tender. If it gets particularly painful, or you get any nerve sensations, then move the ball away or stop the practice altogether. Good. Bring the leg back down again. Put the feet back onto the floor. Straighten the legs so you lay flat on the floor. And then just notice how that whole area feels. So we've only been doing this for a couple of minutes. If you were doing this at home, this might take upwards of 5 minutes. And you possibly notice that all of this left side, so my lumbar, my left buttocks, my left hamstring, feels much closer to the floor than my right side, to the point that actually I feel like I'm pitching down towards my left side. So it's always quite a good idea to work on the right side. So you bend the knees again, take the right ankle over the left knee, pop the ball underneath the glutes and give that all a good massage. So if you've got any questions, or you'd like to understand a little bit more about how you can do some more self-massage into a sore area, then drop me an email. It's info@completebalance.co.uk. Sorry, I'll say that email address again. It's info@completebalance.co.uk. Any questions, do let me know. And thanks for joining me.